Hello, hello. What's up? What's up? It is a new day, it is a new week, and it's time to get social. My name is KaVonna, and welcome to the Introvert's Social Hour. Hello, hello. Today, this is the season 2 finale, y'all. I'm so excited. One of my goals this year was to hit 30 episodes for season 2, and I did that. Another goal of mine is to hit 1,000 listeners at some point, and we're getting there. So keep sharing, keep listening, etc., etc. But I'm excited to talk about the topic for today. It's deeper. It's a little bit more, feely feely. We are in this stage of we're going into quarter 4 of the year, so a lot of things are happening. October is upon us, and I just kind of wanted to talk about, like, kind of catch up with each other in a way, more so you're catching up with me, but I would love to know your thoughts too. I'm just kind of like, what's going on? So this episode is about reflections and new beginnings and what that kind of looks like for us, not just me, but for us this year. And I'm very excited to talk about it. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, or if you don't follow me on TikTok, this is gonna be new information for you. And of course, this is me going in depth. So if you do follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you only know pieces. So, like I said, I'm very excited to talk about what this year has brought me so far and where I'm excited for this year to go. Once again, as I said, this is the last episode of the season, and more so the last episode of the year for this season. There may be some bonus episodes to come because in this next 3 months, there's a lot of things that are coming up that I do still want to talk about. So just stay tuned for bonus episodes. But let's just jump in. It's just me today, so let's just jump in. So one thing I want to talk about is what it looks like to take leaps. So recently, I took one of the biggest leaps, I would say, of my life. I would say I haven't taken a leap that big since moving out here in New York City. Um, I moved out here in 2022, and that leap was big just because I had never lived out of state. Um, I had never moved anywhere on my own. Um, and it was just big to just be like, I'm going to a state where it's basically just me, and that's different, and et cetera, et cetera. But I was also really excited. And so, but this leap takes the cake. And the reason why is because recently I left my full time job. I know, I know. And then the question has been, "Oh, what's coming up next? What do you have lined up?" And the answer to that is I have ideas, but there's nothing set in stone. So if you don't know, I had been a teacher for the past 3 years, almost fully 3 years. It's so weird because I came in middle of the school year, so I've taught in 4 different school years, so it's felt like 4 years. But yeah, I hadn't even hit a full 3 yet, which is so weird to say. Um, or yeah, I haven't hit a full 3 yet. Yeah. So I left. It was a decision that was not as abrupt as it felt for others. I had been trying to leave for a very long time. When I came in as a teacher, to not tell the whole individual information. But I came in working at a charter school. And if you've worked at a charter school, you know of charter schools. They don't have the best track record. And I did work at one that kind of has one of the worst track records of them all. And I didn't know that at the time. But also, I came out here because I was like, well, this is the job I can have to get me to my goals as a dancer. And so, I can do it. And if you ask teenage KaVonna, oh, like, would you want to be a teacher? Homegirl would be like, no. I had grown up, kind of helping out. No, for sure, like helping out my mom. So I was dealing with kids a lot there. Um, Weirdly enough, my first job was also working with kids. I was a recreation leader for summer camp. And then even prior to moving out here, I was a recreation leader as well, but it was more so for teaching like dance classes, like 45-minute dance classes. It was part time, so I could hop in and out. And so when I moved out here, like full time teaching and specifically for a charter school, um, their hours change however they would want them to be. But at first it was like 7:30 to 5, 5:36, depending. That first half of that school year that I came in, I wasn't getting home till 7 o'clock. I was a science teacher, but I had originally applied to be a dance teacher, but they saw my degree. And my degree is not in dance. I have a minor in dance. They saw my degree, and at that time, they were not hiring associate dance teachers or dance teachers in training. So they were like, "Well, how about you be a science teacher, and eventually we'll switch you around." So I came in. I was supposed to be an associate teacher, a teacher in training, and I found out that plot twist, there was no one to really train me as they had said it would be. They needed a teacher to fill in the spot, so I was kind of already there coming in as a lead teacher, and there was issues with that. Kind of like, well, hey, I'm doing the work, I'm doing the job, but I'm not getting the right pay for it. And may I just also add, teachers are incredibly underpaid. And I feel like I could say there now because I'm no longer one, but they're used as tools more so than I don't even know what the right word is, but I think they're so underrated and underappreciated. And I think it's because they've been so used to just being there and existing that people don't know how to value them. And I think that's a huge problem in itself. But yeah, so that was an issue. My first year, I finally was able to get a title change to a lead after struggling and doing what I needed to do to get there. I didn't just get there because I was like, well, I do the work. I had to actually prove myself. And then from there, I was also like, hey, I came in as a dance teacher. Y'all said one thing, and I was I ended up being a lead teacher anyways in a different subject, so I want to be a dance teacher. They were telling me how when I was hired, my hiring person told me lies, but they were still willing to work with me. And so they got me to be a dance teacher, but I ended up being a dance teacher and they switched me to a different school. It ended up working out. Me being switched to a different school was meant to happen that way because my commute was way easier. Um, but I went from a school with a better community. And if you're from my old school, sorry to say, but I went from one school to better community. The kids stressed me out more, but the community I ended up moving to was very eh. That first year I was there, it was a lot of having to, after proving myself in one space, I had to prove myself in another, even though there were people who knew me already and knew what I was capable of. I think that has a lot to do with me. It, just being a black woman, not that I wasn't working with a predominantly black space, but I think it had a lot to do with that because, even my leadership questioned a lot of my things. When I say to you, like, it was a lot. It was points where I literally had to fight for preps. And if you don't know what preps are, it's basically like asking for a break. And I shouldn't have to do that. We're there from 7:30. At that time, it was 7:30 to we got out for 7:35. Am I tripping? No, 7:30 to 4:30. Sorry, 7:30 to 4:30. And on testing days were long, and that's when usually schedules were all flippy floppy. And I'm over here fighting to ask you, can I have a 1 hour break just to eat lunch, or even just like you know uh advocating for my team if maybe I had it and then they didn't. I literally had someone literally tell me, "Oh, so you're oh, look, I'm trying to make you happy. Like you gotta like." Yeah, I was like, "What do you?" I was very confused about that. So that's just one piece of the puzzle. If you know me and you're one of my friends or my family members, I've talked to you about every single thing that I was put through that year. But once again, if you're at a charter school, you know that leadership changes quite often because nobody wants to be there. So the year after that, it actually was better. I was able to not have to constantly advocate for the dance program, not have to constantly advocate for my scholars, not have to constantly advocate for me as a dance teacher. It was lovely. It was nice. Um, and other people disagree with me because there were things that got wild at a certain point. But for me, I was able to just kind of exist without having to constantly fight so hard compared to my first year as a dance teacher. Um, but the hardest thing about being a teacher in a charter school is you can never just be the teacher that you are listed as. I'm trying not to use specific lingo so you're connecting the dots, but like you're expected to be a teacher who can be put anywhere. And that was something that didn't vibe with me because I that took away the joy of my craft. That took away the joy of being a dance teacher. Um, and yeah, it's weird. I'm thinking about this now. I'm kind of getting like emotional because I feel like if I was able to just teach dance, and be a dance teacher and not have to be micromanaged and stuck in a school for 9 to 10 hours a day, I would have been better off. Like, let me teach my classes. I got my stuff done. Bet. Let me exist somewhere outside of this school building. Um, but it was very micromanagey. And outside of that, outside of the school area, like there's a lot of expectations, charter school wide. And a lot of that comes from people who barely touch their foot in a school and who barely touch their foot in spaces where they know better. So it was just a lot of that. Eventually, I will teach dance again, but right now it is on a pause. But I don't see it going anywhere because dance is still in my life, and I'm going to talk about that very soon. But as far as teaching goes, it is definitely on a pause. Um, my students were not happy with me. And of course, as I said prior, it felt very abrupt to them, but it was not something abrupt for me. I've been trying to get out for a while, and I just kind of decided to make that call after applying for over 200 jobs this year. 200, yes, 200 jobs this year, and the year's not even over yet. I decided that maybe the universe was telling me something. Maybe the universe was like, girl, don't you think if 2 years has happened so far, like maybe I'm telling you to take these leaps so you can get to the things you want to do? Like you're purposely not leaving this job for safety purposes. Maybe you need to stop trying to play things safe. And so I decided to I had a conversation with my mom. I always got to talk to my mom. I'm like, girl, what you think? And then we were talking it out, and I was like, I really do believe in this. I had been thinking about it for a while. Like, what if I'm being tested in a different way? Well, like this has been a test for the past few years, but like, what what if it's time for this test to be in its next stage, or maybe its final stage, and then I'm on to a different test, whatever that looks like. And I was like, I really do think it's time for me to make some new changes and some new leaps. And I really do think this was the moment. And I do want to note that I didn't just, while it was abrupt, I didn't want it to be oh my gosh, I'm no longer at the school anymore. And they're kind of like, where did this homegirl go? Like, so I did make sure I let them know. It was a day's notice for them, but I would, that was kind of where everything ended up landing. As I said before, they were not happy with me, and I really wish that I was in a better circumstance to stay. Because one thing I am very proud of that I've done these past almost 3 years is, I was their first dance teacher at that school. I gave them a lot that they hadn't had. And I think that's something that's really important to me is, giving people specifically young Black kids, a chance at something that they may not have a chance at. Specifically because that attaches to me a lot of the ways. I didn't go to a professional dance school or a dance studio. I don't know what that experience is like. Um, and I've also learned to kind of reverse the salty feelings I have upon that. But there's a certain privilege that comes with that, being able to be like, oh yeah, dance studio girl, ha ha ha. Yeah, remember when we were 5? And I was like, no, I was never that girl. Um, I I grew up poor. And I'm not gonna go deep into that, but like that was never a case scenario. So I always think about how dance touched me in ways that was affordable to me in my schools. Like whether my first dance experience officially was me being this quiet, introverted kid in my after school program, YEP, shout out to YEP, shout out to Miss Ricky. He was like, yeah, just like we're doing a hip hop program. They have a hip hop program connecting. Why don't you just go do that? And I was like, well, no, I could just do my homework. Da, da, da. He was like, no, go check it out. And I did hip hop, and I was on a stage like a few months later. Like, what? And then I was like, well, I like dance. And then I took it into high school. And then, she scared the life out of me. And once again, introverted, quiet, shy. So she probably thought it was a little strange. But shout out to Miss Marshall because she also pushed that boundary of just experiencing dance in a new way, a sharper way. My first experience was more loose, recreational, very fun, and she was like straight to the point. I got to go to see Alvin Ailey Dance Company perform, and just remember that as I continue on because there's some cool things happening. But yeah, so that's been the leap that I have taken. Um, yes, there is no backup job in place. Yes, I'm applying to jobs like, like nobody's business. I'm applying to part-time jobs, full-time jobs, temporary jobs, all that stuff like that. Um, as I said before, I have applied to over 200 jobs this year alone, and it's only September still. October's coming. So, that's a whole different episode topic in itself about what this job market is like and ghost jobs, et cetera, et cetera. And people just sleeping on me. People are sleeping on me bad. Like, if you know me, I could have heck of references on a person's desk, whether that be coworkers, friends, family, even people who were above me in management. I have references, but people don't even let me get to the reference stage. Like, I'm that girl, but y'all are just sleeping on me. So I'm gonna still keep applying because I don't have time to not. I took a risk, I took a leap, and right now, it's more important now than ever to make sure I have proper income within the next 2 weeks. I do have a part-time job, which has been really fun and really chill, and I just started it once again, and so it's chill right now. It's calm, collected, very demure, very mindful. But I wanna move on specifically to that job search and what that looks like. Um, I another thing that has like messed me up this year as well is finally getting to certain stages of job applications and people putting me through loops and hoops just to tell me actually no. Twice this year, I was told, "You were our second choice. We appreciated you so much. You were great. We feel so bad, but we chose someone else." Well, great. Thank you for wasting my time. And it very much seemed in both cases that they were internal hires. So, that was another thing for me. It was just like, what are you looking for and what am I missing? It's in your eyes. In your eyes. What am I missing in your eyes? In which someone else is taking that leap or taking that place. But why is it always, oh, you were great, but so it was just like, girl, you could have saved that. So that was two experiences this year, and one of them was most recent. I literally went through a process starting in July, finished in September, just for them to tell me no. I went through four processes, including a project, three interviews. One of those interviews had like four different people in it, and they still told me no. And yeah, but yeah, so that's on top of like, are these jobs even hiring? Um, what does it look like to stay motivated and focused on my career goals? So to be quite honest, um, the motivation is, quite frankly, my determination that everything I've built so far in my life will not crumble. I refuse for it to crumble. Um, and I also refuse to say and even think that the recent decision I have made to leave was a mistake, because it wasn't. And then in addition to that, I also wouldn't have made that choice if I wasn't sure that something is coming, something worth it, whatever that looks like. It's in the air. I really do believe that. So I was applying anyways. My motivation prior to me leaving my job was me just really trying to get out. I was going to work every day anxious. I was sad. There were times I was, to be quite honest, crying on my way to work. Um, Crying, thinking about going to work on Sundays. It got to a point where I knew I was 100% tapped out, and I also thought that was not fair to do, to be coming in that space. I felt like it was unfair to the students, and I felt like it was unfair to my coworkers, more specifically to the people that I worked more closely with. And I felt like I was a potential negative energy. Um, to be fair though, we were all struggling as teachers. This has not been a solid year right now, but um, I've been tapped out for a while. So yeah. Um, but my motivation was to leave. So I was just always applying. I was applying, trying to find something else. I was looking for something new. I had gotten tired. I had gotten just too, yeah, I was just ready. I was ready for something different. I hate staying in places that long in the day, just kind of feeling stuck. And as a teacher, um, you're never tapped out of the role. You're thinking about it after work. You think about it on your way to work. I'm getting messages after work hours, messages before work hours. And there's always, you just never leave it. Even as much as I found better ways to separate my work, I got my work done before I left. But even then, the thoughts were always still there, which is also really annoying. So my motivation now is just, once again, I refuse to let everything I've built crumble. I have an apartment I need to stabilize. I have things I need to do, and um, you know that it's gonna stay, and it's gonna stay, and it's gonna be here. And I know for a fact that is the case scenario. Um, and then on top of that too, as far as like jobs, also, I've been very open as well. Like I said, I'm done with teaching. So, in regards to that, I've been just really going and trying to connect back to a lot of things I did prior to teaching. Um, Teaching, first of all, I just want to say, you have so many skills as a teacher, and especially as a dance teacher. Like, I was over here organizing events and stuff, like with over 100 to sometimes even 200 students. Like, tell me how you organize that on your back by yourself for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Or even with another person. Like, there's a lot of layers that goes into that. But even before that, I was event planning. I did event planning in college. Like I said, I had done recreation leadership. So not only was I working with kids and doing dance classes, but I was helping at the front desk. Oh, you had a class scheduled? Bet. Let me reschedule you or something. It was for adults too. Somebody had a complaint about a tree falling down. I got you. Let me connect you with the city real quick. We're right here. The buildings are connected. So it was a lot of things, customer service, event planning, management, project management, operations, da 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 da. Da. So I know, as I said before, I am that girl. I have done a lot. In college, I don't even ask me how many things I was a part of. Okay, I was a production assistant for a minute. I was also a dancer. I was also a campus ambassador. I was also a residential assistant. And before I was a residential assistant, I was a residential intern. I was also orientation assistant. Hey, welcome to the school. And then I was also orientation assistant. Sorry, if I said orientation leader and then I was orientation assistant, I leveled up. Okay. And then once again, I was also a special events intern. Listen, I helped get Joji on stage. Okay. You can't say nothing to me. I was really, really doing stuff. So I want to get back to being able to tie in those creative spaces again and not feel so pressured by other things happening. I want to bring joy into my work again. And I'm very excited to find something that does that. Whenever that time comes for full-time work, hopefully soon, hopefully soon. um, but yeah, so I've also been trying to do more. I've been whatchamacallit, uh networking. I've always kind of done that, but I purposely was trying to this year make it more intentional to go to social events. And I'm all about, and I've said this before, I can't remember if I said this on TikTok or on here. I definitely talked about it here in regards to dance, with my episode with Wesley. But I don't like the idea of ingenuine, and I don't know if I'm making up that word, networking. As an introvert, there's something about um, fake feeling interactions. And so I've been also very intentional when it comes to networking and putting myself out there to really make it genuine. Like, I'm really interested in you and really interested in the work you do, and, you know, really want to connect and figure that out versus it just being like, oh my gosh, I need a job. Hey, I don't like that. So just being really intentional. And I was doing that before, I left my job. When I tell you, like, it hasn't even been a week since I left, y'all. Everything's still sitting in for me, and trust and believe, when I wake up this next week, I'm gonna be like, am I sure I'm not going to work tomorrow? Like, you sure? Um, but as far as that goes, how am I handling uncertainty in this phase of my life? Um, I'm hopeful. I'm determined. I have such an amazing support system that I didn't even know about. I had so many people reach out to me that I didn't think would reach out to me, and I just want to say thank you for that if you're listening. Um, so many people I didn't even really know. I didn't know they knew I existed, to be quite honest. Um, and I appreciate that a lot. Um, and then also too, my direct family members and my direct friends. Like, one thing have always been more recently, of course, like I have such a solid um community around me. It's small but it's mighty. It's small but it is mighty. And I'm proud of myself for making those correct decisions in my life to choose who surrounds me, but I'm also so proud of like my friends and my family for becoming the people that they are, because truly I man, like I just appreciate y'all so much. And it also is just very telling of, where we are as, in our relationships as people. And I can only hope I'm doing my job as well as your friends and your family members. But yes, thank you so much for that, because it was definitely a hard decision. It was not an easy decision. Oh, and then also too, it was a very not KaVonna like decision. I'm kind of type A, and I say kind of because as I've gotten older, it's kind of loosened up a bit. Very much a gold, if you know the color test personality. But once again, I've kind of loosened up a bit, gotten a little bit more green. But it's all about like rationale for me and numbers and things making sense and having a plan A, B, C, D, E, da 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 da. And for me not to have a direct plan, and for me to just like drop a job without a backup plan, without a direct backup plan or direct job, was very unlike me. And so I thank you so much for everybody who reached out. Um, and I appreciate that, just in case if that wasn't said or wasn't known enough. Um, but no, it's uncertainty, but I think it's going to get very clear very soon. Yes. In regards to that though, I did want to talk about what those other steps in my just general life look like outside of just a job. I want to talk about my career, and my career. I want my career to be dance at a certain point in time. So what my plans look like, continuing growing my dance career outside of teaching. I have been, you know, what's the right word? Yeah, yeah. I have been blessed with the opportunity to be a part of something that's very special. And once again, I really do think that certain things work out the way they're supposed to. Let me tell you how this went down. Last year, around, I wanted to be able to say I performed in something. I hadn't performed in a very long time on stage. Dance is a very hard thing to break into. Once again, it goes into my episode with Wesley if you need more information on that. And you're not always going to have performance opportunities. And I was like, you know what, Ailey Extension has a performance workshop. I'm going to go and do that, because all I'm doing is just taking classes here and there. Nothing's really happening. I go to BDC, I go to Ailey, I was slip hopping around, but I got more with Ailey last year. And so I was like, let's do it. I took my first workshop. It was a small group of us. It was a nice little community. And I was very grateful because I was able to prove to myself that I was still very capable, even though my dancing last year was not as consistent as it has been this year. I've been eating. I'm not gonna lie, I've been eating up this year. So, I got to prove that to myself. And then all of a sudden January comes around and I'm being offered this opportunity that's so specific and so unique. And it only would have happened in this moment in time. And imagine if I wouldn't have taken that workshop, and what did that look like? And then from there, I also performed in another workshop this year. I did a jazz workshop, and I had to dance in character shoes for the first time. Very different, but also ate that up because I told myself, I kept saying, KaVonna, you got to dance in character shoes. Like, you got to, you're trying to do Broadway. There's going to be shows that you're going to have to dance in character shoes, the audition for in character shoes. You got to try it out. You got to test it out. So I finally did that. And then that was all happening at the same time. But I'm very excited to say that I will be in a performance coming up in November, at the Whitney Museum through Edges of Ailey. And man, yeah, I think it's so interesting the way life works. You know what I'm saying? I saw Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater perform for the first time when I was in high school. High school was a very often on and off dance journey for me as well, for various different reasons I'm not going to get into. And so to be able to live in New York City, take classes at Ailey Extension, and then be offered an opportunity to represent Ailey at the Whitney is, man, listen. You like, I don't think I don't think me a year ago would have even understood that process. I'd have been like, girl, what are you talking about? So it's so interesting how things work out. And that is why I think I really do have faith um in the whole entire process and what life is bringing me to. And I know things are going to work out and things are working out. I just think for me, I had to get used to things working out in their own timing. Things were working out in my eyes. I'm not judging, a bit slower, and I started having doubts about things, and then and then certain opportunities like this pop up and I'm like, "Wait, maybe I am we're not going to go this deep, but maybe I am worth it, you know?" So I just wanted to let y'all know that dance is still very much present in my life. And it's not going anywhere. I refuse to give up on that. And I refuse to give up on my passion. Um, whatever dance looks like uh for me will be very interesting time because that there's a lot of different pathways I could go. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens from here. But yeah, so that's one thing that's happening. And then also too, I've been auditioning. I challenged myself to audition for at least three, and I hit those three auditions. They were Broadway shows, companies, etc. I also applied to talent agencies. That was also on my bingo sheet. And we'll see where that goes. But I just think it's so interesting how our story that we are telling with Ailey is we're talking about it. You can see it online. I'm not telling you anything I'm not supposed to. But we talk about lament, faith, joy, and what those things look like. And it's so intriguing because I really do feel like I'm going through those processes right now in a way. Not so much lament, thank goodness. But you know, um faith and joy and hope and et cetera, et cetera. So once again, as Ariana Grande said, we're gonna be all right, and she ate that down. By the way, sorry, slightly off topic. Ariana, Miss Grande, you have so many songs that I use to just keep me up. She's got breathing. She's got be all right. She got successful. Some people sleep on Sweetener. Stop doing that because Sweetener is that girl. Successful is a solid song. When I need a little manifestation, I drop that, and I also drop just like magic from Positions. Stop playing with Ariana. She's that girl. Also too, since we're there, and this has been on my mind plate, some other songs that have been on my current life playlist. Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson. I Gotta Go My Own Way by High School Musical 2, Gabriella and Troy. I also have oh my gosh, Pocket Full of Sunshine, Natasha Bedingfield. And her other one I can't think of right now at the top of my head. But there's a few. There's a few. I have a manifestation playlist. I don't know if it's public on Spotify. If you want it, I'll make it public. Just let me know. But yeah, there's many songs. Um, and we move on. So I want to talk about my journey as a creator, not just as a dancer, but as a creator. So fun fact team, I've been thinking about TikTok for a while. I'm one of those people that was like, dang, I should have started TikTok when, we were in the pandeezy and it just never happened. Cause imagine where I'd be now, but we can't do what ifs. We can only do what nows. And so I'm glad that I have started that journey and I have decided to start that journey. I'm already over 5K. I'm saying because I'm like, wow, I really ate that. Whatchamacaller, I'm a TikTok shop affiliate. And when I hit that 10K, we're gonna be making money off my videos for surezies. In a perfect world, here's what I'm doing. I'm not working a 9 to 5. Of course, it wouldn't just be through TikTok. I would be a multi-income girly, but I want those multi-income things to work out. So, like for example, I do this podcast for funsies. I don't make money off of it. I would love to start making money off of it. For example, I also have my small sticker business, Creative K Moods. I started on Etsy, transitioning more so now into Redbubble, but I'd like to have more of a progress on that. So different things like that. I am. Is it proper word like multifaceted? um I'm not just a dancer. I'm also someone who enjoys art in various different ways. um In my own head, I'm a comedian. But just different things like that. So that creator growth looks like me, seeing what the Introvert Social Hour as KaVonna looks like, because it's not just a podcast anymore. What does it look like growing on TikTok? Maybe what does it look like growing on YouTube? By the way, stay tuned. I want to get the rest of these podcast episodes on YouTube. Reminder, it's just me, but I am trying to get the rest of these podcast episodes on YouTube. Um, and then yeah, et cetera, et cetera. I think what's really big about being a creator is creating content that is for you. And I'm going to say for you as in like for me. I create content for me. And that's, me just sharing my thoughts on things that I love and things that I'm interested in. I talk about my books. I talk about movies. I talk about TV shows. I talk about musicals. I talk about Legos. I talk about all the things that make me me. Um, things that I would love to share with other people. There is a figuring out. And I think right now, in this certain point in time, things are a little bit crisper for me as far as like consistent growth. There was like some bumps in the road when I started over summer and stuff, where I was just like, what videos am I making? What's going to work? What's not going to work? How do I grow my audience? What audience do I have right now? How do I keep them engaged? Et cetera, et cetera, keeping up with the latest trends and so forth and so on. And it's getting figured out. It's a slow but sure enough growth. And what I've been really proud of is my consistency with it. Um, I, whatchamacallit, I was worried that when I started back work again in August after having the summer off and starting my TikTok over summer, that I would drop, that I would kind of like lose my consistency. But once again, very determined girly was trying to get out. I was like, no, I'm seeing growth. I'm going to keep this working. So I was posting at least 3 times a day. Sometimes it was only twice, maybe it was only once, but I was posting every day. And right now it's been even better. And I just got things popping. One thing, that chick Angel, because I'm a stage crew member from Here's the Thing, she says everything is content, everything is content. And there's videos that pop off that I get very surprised about. There's certain videos that pop off, I'm like, really, people vibing with this? I just thought about that and recorded it in a quick little 1-minute video. Some of the videos I put time into are the ones that don't do well. So really, if you're thinking about content creation, just record yourself in the camera with your thoughts. Now be careful. Nah, that's not for everybody, because some people, y'all should just keep your thoughts. But for me, I put my thoughts out there in regards to entertainment. Some of y'all have thoughts about people's lives, and that's a different story. Okay. But yes. And then in addition to TikTok, I also had a life bingo square to start background acting roles. I had registered officially last year, but of course the strike happened, etc. And now I'm able to say I did 2 background acting roles this year, which is so exciting. Yay. That's me clapping for myself. Because I really was wondering if it would even happen. But they caught me that last week of summer before I had to go back to work. And I was very happy about that. I had a whole summer and somehow things only popped off the last week. But you might catch me in Law and Order. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Don't ask me the episodes and stuff. I don't know nothing. But just say, if you see me, you saw me. I was wearing brown because it's fall. um, but yeah, I'm excited to keep doing that. Once again, it's very wishy-washy, but if there's some more background acting roles that come up, I would love to do that. But it's kind of hard. It's very hard being a non-union person. It's very hard. Maybe one day I'll finally be in a union, and more roles will come to me some way, somehow. Fun fact, one of my random dream things to do, I would love to be in an Old Navy or a Target commercial, specifically for Christmas. I would love to wear like the printed holiday pajamas, with the Target dog on the side, or like the Old Navy, like, dancing in the background, with the Christmas trees in the back. I love, 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 love. That will be one of my goals I check off at some point in the next, you know what? Let's say next 2 or 3 years. I'm being an Old Navy or a Target commercial. Whoever catches me outside first. That's what it is. I'm not gonna tell you what preference is. Nope. Old Navy or Target, I'll take equal. Whichever one comes to me first. But I'm excited to keep seeing my role as a creator and a dancer keep growing and how those maybe even start to intertwine a little bit more. Um, because, like I said, I have so many interests, and I would love to start seeing them connect. Let's see. What's next? What's next? What's next? Oh, so we're gonna be celebrating personal achievements as well. So outside of like career goals and such, I want to say I ate down this year with just in general focusing on me as a person and what I wanted to start doing a bit more. So when I did my life bingo sheet, it wasn't just about career stuff, but it was also like what I felt like I needed for myself. And I even did my 2024 bucket list, and it was about what I needed for myself, centering, for KaVonna. And so personal milestones. So fun fact, my roller skates were collecting dust. I had my roller skates. I thought I was about to be zooming ever since I think I got them in 2020 or 2021. And it was that the pandemic thoughts. And I was like, hey, I bet I'm about to be roller skating in the backyard. And they were collecting dust ever since. I finally used my roller skates for the first time in like 3-ish years. Ate that up. Ate that up. They're still very cute. I went to my first roller skating class. When I have a job again, I will be back. But that was also really fun. It was also like when I have more time on my hands. I didn't have time. So they need to happen at the same time. Me having more time and me having money. And then yeah, it was such a great time. That was so fun. And I wish that would be something I would add to like my weekly schedule if I could. In addition to, if I also like doing aerial. I would love to do aerial weekly, but that's also a big expense. Even before it was a big expense before I even left my job, so it's on pause right now for sure. Um, I was doing it through an app. I'm not sponsoring, but I was doing it through an app to make it cheaper. And then whatchamacaller. Of course, dance classes and stuff. I was really consistent with my dance classes this year. I think I only had one fall off where I hadn't taken a dance class in like 2 weeks. But when I tell you years prior, it'd be like a month or so. Yeah, yeah. And I think this 2 week, it might have been 2 or 3 weeks of a lapse. It happened. It happened towards the end of the school year into the summer, I think. And that was me trying to save money more so than anything else. So then back to the whole thing of I'm working all these hours and stressing out and stuff, and I still couldn't afford to do the things I loved. So there was no point, you know what I'm saying? Um, But yeah, no, I ate that. I ate that for sure. I've been very consistent, or even just like having opportunities to rehearse in other spaces where I don't have to, cough up some coins. Once again, very consistent. I've been more consistent. I was more consistent with. I wouldn't call it consistency, but I have taken more aerial classes. Like I said, it's a matter of funds. It's a matter of signing up. It's a lot of layers to that. I also took my first bungee class. That was part of my bingo sheet where I wanted to do new classes, new whether it was dance or fitness, just something I'd never done before. That was awesome. Felt like a whole kid just doing bungee and flying around the room. Um, and yeah, so I've just been just vibing. I've been crocheting on and off. That has not been a consistent one, but it's fine. It's a new hobby. I've been crocheting a blanket for about a year. It will be done by the time Christmas comes because it's supposed to be a Christmas present. But yeah, I've gotten into crochet. I want to start doing painting again. I was painting a lot during pandemic time. I have heck of paint that's just kind of hopefully not staling up, but I want to get back into that. Um, and yeah, I have many hobbies, as I like to say, many hobbies. Passion planning is always one of mine. Check out Passion Planner. Go to my link in my Instagram to catch my code if you're a passion planner and you need a little discount. I love Passion Planner with my whole heart. And if you follow me on Instagram, I show you occasionally what my layouts look like. So when I write my bingo sheets and my summer bucket lists and my movie trackers and my book trackers, all that stuff like that. If you'd like to see them again, if you want official posts, let me know. I'll share it. Um, and then as far as wins career wise, so those are my personal wins. Oh, sorry. In regards to books, also too, team, I did a 45 book goal this year. So if you're a reader and you're like 45, really, KaVonna, that's it. First of all, I've been doing solid these past like 2 years, 3 years. There was a time where my reading goal was just 20 because I had a hard time getting through 10. I'm eating up. I've already read 29 books. Don't come for me. I'm so excited about that. I am currently behind. I'm 4 books behind, but I'm gonna catch back up. I'm reading 3 books at once right now. One is an audiobook and I'm eating it up. I'm finding ways to get through stories still the way so I can still, absorb them properly while still like doing things. So like I'm listening to audiobooks now. I got into audiobooks like last year. So when I'm walking, because I can't read when I'm walking, or when I'm like, doing cooking or something like that. So that's been really cool. Just using my time more wisely now. And as I said already, with my bingo sheet for 2024, I've been doing pretty solid with that. There's some that could be on the track. Once again, I have a little bit more time, so I can get some of this stuff done. Some of the things are kind of out of my hands right now, which is perfectly fine. But I could still get a little, I could still get a little bingo sheet for suresy, for suresy. But I already hit 8 bingo boxes. I did a 5 for 5, 5 by 5, so 25. I hit 8. I just haven't hit bingo specifically yet, but heck yeah. And if you're like, KaVonna, well, what are you going to get when you hit bingo? I have not forgotten that there's supposed to be a Twilight Lego set that comes out, and it's probably coming out January. If I'm wrong, I'd be wrong. January. I think it's supposed to come out in January. That's my theory. I want that. I'm getting that. It's in my hands the minute Lego announces it. I'm just letting you know. Um and yeah. Oh yeah, duh. I also Legos. Sorry, my brain's jumping everywhere. I also got into Legos this year, more so end of last year into this year. But if you would have talked to KaVonna a year ago, once again, Homegirl didn't have one Lego set in her apartment. Not one, not even a small one. I didn't even have a brickhead. Now I forgot how many I counted, but I think I hit 14. I like small ones. That's why don't come for me. So I'll get like the little 9.99 ones. I have little red Vespa 14.99 ones. The postcards, but then I also do have some big ones, of course. The Lego Retro Radio 8 down. It's such a fun time. So yeah, just also just like adding to my hobbies and my nerdship. Um, but yeah, I would say those are some solid achievements. Uh, I also got I also became more of a movie girl, so I got the AMC A-list membership this past year. So I went to movies a lot. That was time for me to do self-care, to be quite honest, even if I wasn't just watching the movie and I fell asleep and I took a nap. It's so peaceful. I love going to movies by myself. It's the time. And that was my moment of self-care, and just kind of getting to watch whatever I watched. So I love that I added that to be a consistent thing in my life as well. As far as career wise, um, I would say my biggest moments was finally like achieving, hitting those, dance shows and getting those dance shows done. Biggest moments was pushing through, even in those hardships that I had getting through, and um, doing what I needed to do. Excuse me, and also, I really do. I was gonna say I think, but now I know that I made an important impact in my role. And so I'm very proud of myself of the work that I had done. Um, and I know that whenever I'm ready to get back into gear part time, whenever that happens and wherever that happens, I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm only gonna keep growing. I'm only gonna keep learning. And I know um, I'm doing my thing. It doesn't feel like it at times, but as I'm talking to y'all right now, I'm really eating. I'm really eating. I'm not gonna lie. There's some rough spots happening as well, but as I'm sitting here reflecting on things, I'm like, wow, I, man, man, oh man, am I right? In addition to that, I reorganized my apartment this year, so my bookshelf space is looking fire. Everything in my apartment I have built myself, besides my bed. They did that because I wasn't doing that. But I even built my couch. So like everything I could say I did it, and I did it, majorly on my own, and I'm incredibly proud of that. Majorly on my own with, very interesting budgeting and funds. Because like I said, teachers don't get paid like that. Um, and yeah, I'm looking around as I'm recording. I'm like, no, I actually ate that. So that's what another thing is like, I refuse to let things crumble, and things are going to work out the way they're supposed to. Because I know they will. I'm a determined little individual. Um, and then what do I see? What are my hopes and dreams for 2024? I'm gonna say mainly 2024, and we'll talk about 2025 just a bit, not too much, because like I said, there might be some bonus episodes that pop off, and I might want to save that bonus episode, you know, for when it's time. Maybe we'll see. But what am I looking forward to for the remainder of the year? Let's see. So October is coming up. I am looking forward to being surprised in the best ways possible. I am looking forward to having opportunities come my way that I would have never even thought of. Um, I'm excited for that. Maybe I'm out of my mind, or maybe I am in very much in my mind. I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional, but that's what I see. Um, I'm very excited to check off more bingo sheets, more bingo squares. So like finishing my blanket, being in a paid dance performance, traveling outside of New York City, finding a new like town or city. I already have one in my mind. I just haven't been there yet. Getting a new job, being able to save more funds and do things with my family, finishing my 45 book list, having more dance opportunities come my way, growing more as a creator, whether that be on TikTok or maybe it is YouTube or et cetera, et cetera. I want to bring into this last quarter of the year more joy, um, because I while it has been a scary time, okay. Now I'm hopeful, but I don't mean I'm scared. Well, it's been a scary time figuring out what the heck is coming next and to make sure those things don't crumble. Um, like, sorry, I just kind of like just lost my train of thought for a second. It's been a scary time, but um, I do know everything will come to. And I do know that I'm putting in the work. Um, and I, you know, like I just said, I know things are gonna work out, and I'm gonna just keep eating. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm excited for what personal achievements I continue to make in addition to my career growth. Plot twist. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe I will be in a Target or Old Navy commercial by December. Who's to say? Or maybe it looks like something else. But I'm hopeful and determined. Um, I have not been very happy this past year. And, even though it has been scary to leave and take this jump, I feel more hopeful than I felt in a very long time, to be quite honest. When we had conversations about our project that, I am dancing in, we had talked about what hope looks like. And I was just like, this was at the beginning of the year. Like, that first quarter or some change, and I wasn't feeling very hopeful, but I was trying to fight to keep that hope. And right now I'm like, no, like something is coming. And I know something's coming because those hopes were dipping in and out. I started, if you've been in that job struggle applying, I started questioning like, well, what is it? Why am I not getting these opportunities? Like what is going on? It was a lot of I went to college, they say go to college, get your degree, the world is your oyster, and that was not the case scenario. I just had a lot of thoughts going in my head, and right now I'm just like, no, whatever is supposed to come to me is going to come to me because I have now freed myself up for that. And that just makes me so excited. Like, ooh, what's coming? um well, it also looks like me right now auditioning for more things because I have the time to do so. I was only able to audition for one thing that was not in the summer, and that was because I left work early to go do it. And if you know auditions, you know that you better be there early or else they're not going to see you. And plot twist was they did not see me, and that's okay. Because I believe that what is meant for you will come for you. And I do believe that things happen for a reason, and that's just not something that I always had in place. It it's been in place because I've seen it. I've seen how things start to connect and work out. And I do believe that this next step that I'm in, this next phase of life is meant to be a pathway or a door into what is meant for me next that I just don't know what it is yet. And I know it's going to be great. and I'm very excited for that. And then 2025, I just want those same vibes. I'll definitely update y'all, whether that's on TikTok or Instagram, on what my 2025 bingo sheet looks like. It's a little too early to be thinking about that right now, while we're still trying to achieve the 2024 one. But I'm very excited to see what that looks like. Um, and I do just want to just talk about making sure you take care of yourself. Burnout is real. Burnout played a part in my role. Mental health played a part in my role in leaving. Making sure you're taking care of yourself. Now, I'm not trying to tell y'all to just leave. It doesn't have to be just work, whatever. I'm not telling y'all to just leave because, once again, I took a risk that I don't recommend other people taking. Because, like I said, for the past 2 years, I was telling myself not to do it. But do what you think is best for you. At the end of the day, always prioritize your mental health and your well-being. I personally, the very Gen Z part of my zillennial self is very much like you are more important than any job. Because the jobs don't care. While I did leave, you know, like the way I did, it wasn't it wasn't like I quit. I did put a resignation letter and stuff. But while I did leave, it was shortish notice. It wasn't like a 2 weeks because we don't really do that there. But yeah, it was the kids that made me feel appreciated and loved. Um, my network as a whole did not make me feel that. So just make sure you do what's important to you, right? Because they don't really care about you. They may care about what you do for them, but they don't care about you as a person. And as far as self-care practices, just regaining balance in your life, like I said, with all my personal things and my hobbies and my activities, whatever that looks like for you. If you love journaling, journal. If you need time to go outside and have a peaceful nature day or park day, go do that. If you like dancing, go take a dance class. If you want to go watch a movie. Just take time for yourself. I love forms of escapism, if it wasn't obvious, whether it's a book, a movie, a TV show, etc. But also just stepping outside of the real world for a second. So when it comes to just sitting and staring at some water or just being in a quiet space with trees, that's so important sometimes to just take a moment and pause just with yourself. No external people around. And just know what those self practices look like for yourself, and gaining clarity on what you need. And then as far as that goes, um just make changes that are important to you. That wouldn't be an answer for me to have for you. But I knew what changes were, or at least I knew certain changes that were important to me, even though it took me a while to figure them out. And, just keep reflecting, keep thinking about what you need to do for yourself. And that's really up to you. And that just goes into the rest of this year and into like the next year that comes around as well. And, once again, your circle and community, your support system is so important. So thank you so, 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 so much on all my family, my friends, and even my creative communities like TikTok and such, that have supported me through this period. While it has not even been a week yet, it kind of really hit hard. There's been a lot of transitional changes right now. And once again, it was so many people that reached out that I didn't expect. And I needed those extra words because while I can be very sure on some things, this was something that was very, like I said, unlike me, and I needed those extra words to be like, nah, you prioritize yourself, which is so important, and it's so different, and it's also so real, because I think the United States work system does not cater to that. We're kind of forced to be stuck in places, and we're not really prioritized to take care of ourselves as much. So. Um, yeah, once again, thank you so much. um Make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people who do encourage you and who do uplift you up during tough times. um because you start to understand when these big transitions happen, these big changes happen, who's really in your corner and who's really in your circle and who's really there for you. And so just make sure you are surrounding yourself with the right people. Make sure you're supporting your people as well, during these during the rest of this year, or if they are going through life changes or uncertain times, et cetera, et cetera. And I just only hope and want to continue to keep growing as a person and making sure I do the same for my people. Also, I'm just I'm so grateful, and I'm just so ready for whatever that next change looks like. And just know when I pop off, y'all, I got you. I got you. Okay. Um, and there is definitely a fear of this unknown moment in my life. But I'm embracing this level of uncertainty with this idea of like, no, I'm about to pop off. I'm about to eat. Whatever that growth looks like, it doesn't have to be the speed that I need it to be or want it to be, but I know it's going to happen in whatever speed it needs to be, if that makes sense. Um, and as a gold, as a type A person, I'm letting go of that need to control things or understand everything or have a plan for everything, and kind of just like trusting this process, which is once again scary. But I'm like, maybe this is my next journey of just like letting things exist. Like you've grown, me as KaVonna has grown this solid foundation of character. And now it's like, so now you gotta just like loosen up a little bit and just let hop on the surfboard, ride the wave, you know? Um, and that is definitely a mindset shift. But also once again, it has helped me stay more in a positive light now that I've made such a big change. And even when things aren't going as planned these days, I'm still like, no, but I listen, I know what's up. Something's popping off, something's coming, whatever that is, however big or small. Um, and I want to just say I'm trusting in the process. I'm trusting in whatever is coming my way. And um these past few years has been one of the biggest tests and biggest challenges that I have ever come across. But there's been a lot of good that has come from it, to be quite honest too. It has built my character. And I think it's prepared me for what I don't know is to come yet. And so that's why I was like, no, I think it's time now. I've done it. I've done it. I have been challenged. I've done everything I needed to do. I think I'm ready. And matter of fact, I know I'm ready. So what's next? And that's how I feel. So this was kind of long. I know it's like, oh, KaVonna's just talking to herself, but I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. So like I said, y'all, this was my update, but I also would love to know what your thoughts are and what transitional changes look like for you, and whether big or small, and what has 2024 given you, whether good or challenging. What do you want from the rest of 2024 and this last quarter of the year, October, November, December? And what are you looking forward to come into for 2025? Life is such a little roller coaster when I tell you. But once again, I've made it out of other harsh paths into bigger paths that I didn't expect. And I think this is one of those changes again that's happening. So I'm very excited what's to come. I'm very excited to what's to come for you as well. So I would love to know what you're doing. You could go ahead and comment in the podcast section if you are listening on Spotify more specifically. Make sure you stay tuned and look out, because I will be pushing those YouTube videos out as soon as I can. Once again, it's just me. I'm editing the YouTube videos, et cetera, to transition the audio onto video form. Um, but yes, y'all, this is the last episode. It's the finale of season 2. Can you believe it? I just started this podcast last year. So thank you for listening to the Introvert Social Hour. Thank you for listening to me talk and listen about my life. If you're still here, make sure you share, like, and follow this podcast. Send it to a friend, a family member, a loved one. Make sure you're also following me on at KaVonna at Instagram to get podcast updates, and at the Introvert Social Hour on TikTok. Once again, the TikTok's popping off. I don't just post about my podcast on there, and especially now that this is the finale, I will be posting. It probably won't be much podcast talk, but once I get the YouTube popped off, I'm gonna link the YouTube on there so people could listen. But make sure, once again, you're looking out on those two platforms when possible bonus content drops, because for sure there'll at least be one or two that come out before the end of the year. Um, but yes, thank you so much. I appreciate all of your support. As always, now you got 2 seasons to catch up on. If this is your first episode or your second, third, you got 2 seasons. The second season is 30 episodes. I'm gonna check that off my list now. I'm so excited. So get some sunshine, get some air, have an amazing rest of your year, and I will see you next time on the Introvert Social Hour. Thanks for joining. Bye.